Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today where I'm going to teach you how I went from 0 elo to 500 elo on online chess and how you can do so as well. So before I get fully into the video, why should you listen to me? Why should you take my advice? Well, unlike a lot of the people on the internet, I actually progressed from complete zero. 2 years ago today, I was rated 150 on chess.com, which is only 50 points from the absolute rock bottom. So I did have to progress from absolutely nothing. I had no prior experience and I learnt as you are probably now. I'm now almost 1600 online and I've beaten players over 1800 over the board. So it's safe to say I've progressed from nothing, and unlike international masters, grandmasters who are out of touch with the lower levels, it really wasn't long ago for me. I remember it very vividly. So let's get into the video. So I've actually got a list here of all the things I did to try and get past 500 elo and get you obviously up to 500 elo. So the first thing is just something basic that I see a lot of players do, especially at the lower levels. Get tunnel visioned. You see a queen, you want to hunt it, you want to try and trap it, but you neglect your back rank, you get mated in one. That sort of thing is so common. You can try and take a free piece. You got to remember at the end of the day that winning pieces does not win you the game. Checkmate does. Yes, it makes it a lot easier if you take all their pieces, but that is not how you win at chess. Checkmate is the only way to win at chess. So try and remember that not to be so materialistic, really. That's something I see a lot of lower rated players get really focused on. They don't really sort of attack the king. They're instead trying to take pieces and take pawns instead. So when I first started playing, I would ask a lot of people, how long should I be practicing each day or week to get better? And they would never give me a solid answer. So I'm going to tell you something right now. I'd say 2 hours a week. Now, if you want to be even more vigorous, try and do a 2-to-1 ratio of playtime to practice. So if you play a 10-minute game which goes on for 20 minutes because you both have 10 minutes, then do at least 10 minutes of practice on that day. So you can sort of see the ratio there. Now, obviously you can do a 1-to-1 ratio if you really feel like it, but I don't want to push you too hard. Chess is meant to be fun at the end of the day, so you know, it's not all about practice. So I'd say 2 hours per week is a good starting place. This is a very important thing to learn, and that is how to checkmate with a rook and with a queen. Now, I don't mean them at the same time. I mean, you have a rook in one game with a king, and maybe you have a queen in another game with your king. It's absolutely incredibly important that you can do these two basic checkmates, because without them, then what's the point in even winning the game? Because if you can't checkmate with those two pieces, you haven't really got much of a chance to checkmate. So absolutely learn it. It will save you a lot of hassle, especially when you get into time trouble, when you're trying to work it out for the first time. Just go onto an analysis board, do some practice. It will really save you a lot. Now, this is something that you've probably all heard, but it's very important, and it's something that really grew my level to the next level every single time. That is puzzles. I do a lot of puzzles. I've done over 10,000 puzzles on chess.com. Now, if you don't want to pay for chess.com premium, I understand it. That's absolutely fine. Lee Chess also has puzzles and they're completely free. They're also very good, so you can do that on there as well. And a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are related to chess.com because I do play on that, but you can also do the same thing on Lee Chess for free. So do keep that option in mind. So I'm editing the video and I somehow forgot a really important piece of information, and that's a phrase a lot of you would have heard, and that is checks, captures and attacks. Now, if you haven't heard about this before, what I mean is after every move that you make or your opponent makes, you need to be thinking about checks, captures and attacks. These are three very forcing moves. So a check is the most forcing you or your opponent to move their king. A capture is also very forcing, but not as forced, where you can either recapture or move or do something else. And then least but still threatening, and that is a threat or an attack, because then you'll have to do something about it. So if your opponent makes a move, and just before you make your move, just think checks, captures and attacks. Does it allow a check? Does it allow a capture? Or does it allow them to attack me in some way? And if you're struggling to make a move, then maybe do the same thing for yourself. Is there a check available? Is there a capture available? Or is there a threat or attack I can create? This will genuinely help you lose a lot less games because you will not blunder so much, and eventually it'll become autonomous. You won't need to actively think about it. You'll just become sort of used to doing these checks after every move. It's a really great piece of information, definitely worth doing. If you can't see the whole complete continuation of the puzzle, try and spend more time on it. Do not just say, oh, that's the best move, and then wait until what happens and then try and play the best move. Calculate it. That is the only way you're going to get better at calculation, is to actually force yourself to do it. Your brain will not want to do it because it's hard and it's not fun, but it's really, really helpful, and you need to be able to calculate in chess. So doing puzzles is a great way to do that. Now, something a lot of people are going to try and ask me about, and it's really not very important: openings. So it doesn't matter what openings you really play to get to whatever level you can get to. I mean, you could probably play 1 at A3 up to 2000 level. It really does not matter. But just to give you some starting points, the Queen's Gambit for white is an excellent opening. It's very solid. You won't get tricked. You won't get trapped. E4 is a lot more risky. There's a lot of traps in it, especially when you're playing from the black side. They play E4, you play E5. You're hoping to not get trapped in those sort of lines. So what I'm going to recommend is something a bit obtuse and a bit, a bit niche. I'm going to say to you, don't play E5. A lot of people are going to hate me for that, but I don't play E5. I'm not going to say that you should either. I'd play either E6 or C5. Now, the Sicilian is a complicated opening, there's no doubt about it, and a lot of players will say you shouldn't play it until you're 2000. I completely disagree. I think that if you want to try it out, you want to enjoy it, you don't want to get trapped by E5, give it a go. The opponents probably won't know what to do against it either, so it's an equal playing field and you're just having fun really at chess. So E5 isn't my best option. I would go for C5 or E6 against E4 and Knight F6 against D4. Those are my options. You could either go into the King's Indian with Knight F6, you could go into the Nimzo Indian, you could go into
the next day.
It's up to you, it doesn't really matter. Just try out a lot of openings and see what feels right. Now, where to get better at those openings? Well, there's a free way to do that, and that's to go on YouTube and you search up someone called the Remote Chess Academy. He's an excellent teacher, Igor Shmurnov. He's a really great grandmaster. I've learnt from him so many times. Fantastic opening teacher and really great way to learn an opening in 10 minutes. So I'd recommend watching him, and for just general play and you want to just enjoy chess when you're not playing, I'd recommend watching Chess Vibes on YouTube. He's a really great YouTuber, really entertaining, really aggressive playstyle, and it's just a fun person to watch. Now, a lot of you are not going to like me for saying this because I didn't like people that told me this when I was lower rated. Play longer time controls. So a lot of players, they want to start out, they want to try and get a couple wins. They're not good enough to actually win, so they play bullets so they can flag their opponents. Don't do that. You're not learning anything. Lower time controls are only really good for experienced players already. So I'd recommend playing 10 minutes or 15 plus 10. Now 15 plus 10 is a long time control, don't get me wrong. But if you're on Lead Chess, you can have a happy medium with 10 plus 5. Unfortunately, chess.com for whatever reason doesn't let you play that, or there is actually a way to play it, but nobody plays it, so you could be waiting there for 10 minutes plus to try and find a game. So I'd recommend just playing 10 minutes, and that will increase your ability very quickly because you actually have time to think and calculate. Now, the next thing is something I think a lot of you should do regardless of your rating, and that is to join a chess club. Chess clubs are an excellent way to learn because you're around like-minded individuals. There's a social side to chess, and it's just a great way to enjoy chess. So to do this, for me, I'm in England, so I can go onto the ECF locator and find chess clubs all around the UK. But if you're in other countries, I'm sure they have a similar procedure. You probably have a chess club in your town or nearest city that you don't know about. So try and join them. It's a great way to get better at chess and just enjoy the game and play over the board, because after all, that's the way chess is meant to be played. So for the last part of the video, I thought it'd be fun to try and play against the 500 and walk you through my thoughts step by step. Let's play d4. Okay, we get this setup. So this is like a King's Indian setup, if you're not familiar with it. They're going to play bishop to g7, they're going to play d6. They're going to put their knights here, they're going to play the knights here. And it's just a sort of an attacking style of chess. So I'm going to try and be principled. I'm going to take the center. Now, I don't know a lot of the lines, by the way. So this is something that's very important when you're watching me, is that I'm not someone who's played for years, that knows every line, that knows it really well. I'm not a good player by any means. I'm just better than the average player. So I'm playing knight c3, and this isn't a great move because now this allows him to attack twice. So now I can play knight to f3. This would guard this pawn from the knight on c6 and the bishop on g7. So I'm going to do that. There's probably some tactics I'm unaware of, but I'm just playing principled chess as you would yourself. So let's play knight f6. Now I think this is a slight mistake generally, because normally you play d6 first to stop me going e5. After knight h5, I think maybe I'm slightly better, but it might be a bit pseudo better. So I'm going to play it anyway. We'll play e5. My plan is to go bishop to d3, or maybe even bishop c4. I'm not sure actually where I want my pieces yet. Okay, so he takes the pawn. This is obviously not a good move. It's hard for me to... Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be talking about how I convert. So I'm taking that pawn, obviously, and after knight h5, I'm now very happy because I'm up a piece. Okay, here's knight g4. This is also fine, attacking this piece twice. Now, I could defend it with bishop f4. That makes sense. I don't really see any reason not to. He could try and attack it more, but I'm just going to defend it. I'm just going to defend the piece. And I don't see any way he's got anything. He's played this. This move may look weird to you, but he's played c6, so he can play queen c7 and add more pressure. That's his idea there. But I'm going to kick away the knight first. So I'm going to play h3. The knight has to go back to here, because otherwise I'd take it if it goes here. After it goes here, you know what? I might just lob it off and, you know, just say I'm up a piece. What do I care? So I might play actually. I can play queen d2, and the point of queen d2 is it aligns on this, and it also allows me to castle queenside if I so choose. I'm not sure I will, because I don't really see any reason, but I'm going to go queen d2 anyway. Now, this thought process is probably flawed for a lot of people. Now, this is a massive mistake. I'm just going to take this piece, obviously, because... And I haven't even got pre-moves enabled on this, but yeah, we are now up 2 pieces. So... yeah, this is kind of an unfortunate game, because I actually wanted to try and talk a bit more about the strategy, and we haven't really got that. So he's playing d6. This is fine, trying to get rid of this pawn. I'm going to take it because I'm happy to trade. And the only thing I'm thinking of is, if I take, will he take with the queen or will he take with the pawn? If he takes with the queen, it stops me castling. So maybe I don't want to do that right away. I could also go for the kill. And as I told you before, chess is about checkmating, not about winning pieces. We are up 2 pieces now. Doesn't mean we're winning. Well, we are obviously winning, but we haven't won the game yet. So knight g5 is a way to win, because it's threatening the h6 pawn, and I don't really see a good way to him to defend that, because after rook e8 takes king over, check, I think we're just winning. I think that's just mate. So I'm going to play knight g5, and we'll see what he does. Now, obviously, this is a really big threat. He has to do something. He can't just take this pawn. Okay, he doesn't see it. Unfortunately, this was too quick of a game. I'm going to checkmate him. And we're going to move on to the next game. Oh, I can't even move on to the next game, because it's because this technically is like, I think I've just gained a ridiculous amount of rating, so I'm not. So unfortunately, that rapid game was way too simple, and it's not realistic to assume that that's going to happen to your games. But I hope nevertheless this video is really helpful for a lot of people, and I really hope to see a lot of you get to 500 elo and above thanks to this video. If you've enjoyed it and you want to see more, please like and subscribe to the channel, and until next video, goodbye.